Live from the Hub Studios in Atascadero, this is a Clarion Voice. This is Mark Sobowitz along with Mike Donaldson and our crew, Selena and Debbie, on a Clarion Voice on Valentine's Day, as of all things. How about that? Hope you're having a good Valentine's Day, and we'll have one in the future. In any case, today we are going to be talking about the subject of church, and has church become a bad word? So, if you want to send in your responses, please do while we're talking here, and we'll be glad to respond to those. In any case, when you think of the word church, sir, good morning, Mike.
Oh, good morning, Mark. How are you?
I'm fine, Mike.
I'm just standing and just sitting here doing nothing here, just waiting for my turn.
When you think of the word church, what do you think of? What's the first impression that comes to mind?
Well, for me, it's different. I mean, we should talk about what other people are thinking first.
Okay. Well, I think
let's do that. What do you think?
Well, I think that generally church is a building where you go and you worship, worship the Lord, and you
That's not a bad thing. Yeah.
Sing songs, and you gather with, fellow believers.
Right.
And I've been going to a church in Atascadero. It's now called Legacy Church, and I've been there for nearly 30 years. And I go there because it's comfortable.
There's a good point right there.
The fact that it's comfortable.
Yeah, people go to places that they feel comfortable at. I mean, if you're not challenged, if someone's not pointing you out or asking you to pray for somebody else, or to give a word, or do something that the regular, or I would say the church today, then are we okay? Uh-oh, we're in trouble now.
Are we?
I don't know. She's got to move something.
Okay.
Something's not right. So anyway,
yes.
So if you're not challenged and you're comfortable, and is that a good thing? I mean, you do go to more than one group.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
And traditionally, that's what we know of as church, is the building, is the blah 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 blah. The start in the morning. Three songs and a 3-point message. Right.
Right.
And then you're out. Maybe talking to people, sucking down coffee and eating donuts.
Right.
It's a social thing. Well, you might as well just go to some other kind of a Lions Club or something, because that's all there. That's a social gathering thing. So one of the things that a group that I can relate to, and most people can, because they've been to the church, they've done the thing, and it's the same old stuff. Even people that say, "Oh no, we do it differently." What are you doing differently?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it looks like you do this and do that, That just really looks like a church. And I think those that are called, have this group, they call them Dunners.
Okay.
Yeah, Doners. And Dunners were like done with the whole traditional feel of what church is. They're looking for more. And let me just finish with this before you say something.
All right.
That's what's happening in Ashbury right now as we speak.
Is this in Kentucky? Okay.
They're on their 5th day, of just having meetings and having people love on each other and pray for each other. And I think Ken was talking about the description where the guy was asking the Lord, says, Lord, is this revival?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have old people praying for young people and young people praying for old people. And he says, it's just normal, everyday people who are hungry for more for God. They're hungry to get more. And that's what revival looks like. And that's how easy it can happen anywhere. Are you
Right.
hungry? But if you're comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think people get stuck in the tradition of church, and I think that your point about being challenged is something that people need to recognize, because you're not going to grow in your faith if you're not, if you're not challenged in that faith, to make aware of your relationship with the Lord.
Challenged in your own belief.
Yeah, because for me, that's how I've grown, to be challenged in my faith. And since and the point about the Ashbury situation, I think that's more church to me than just being in a building, because
we are the church.
Right, we are the church, and that's something that we need to recognize. I mean, there are groups that gather. Our group, has United Bride, gathers on Monday nights,
Right.
and you can call that a church if you want to, but because we have the worship, we have a message,
we have a 501c3.
Yes. But it's different, because it's a small group. People get to know each other, and we are challenged in our faith because of what is being said. We're always being prompted, either yourself or Kim or Donna challenge us in our faith to think about, okay, and where do you stand?
Why do you think we do that? Here's a question for you. Why do you think we help people challenge themselves to see where their faith lies?
Well, I think one aspect is growing in your faith, and another thing is to just indicate, what is your relationship with God? What does God want you to do, as opposed to what you want to do? I mean, It's very easy to to decide, okay, I'm going to go to this service and whatever, and I feel like I'm more challenged in His United Bride, and I think that that's something for me that has helped me grow.
Good.
In the last couple of years that I've been going, and not that the previous 28 years or whatever, how long I've been going to church, doesn't mean that I haven't been challenged, but it's just that it feels different. And I think that people have to recognize that the traditional church building, is something that people are used to hearing about, but do they get the full benefit of it?
Yeah.
I don't think.
I can't believe that camera just turned off, didn't it?
Yeah.
Hello. Okay, well, we're
still going here, but
Yes.
They got one camera that's working right now. We did an upgrade, and so we're having a few problems this morning, but
that's okay.
We're back and running again. Well,
right.
Let me throw out another word, because the challenge thing I think is key. How do you feel about the word evangelism? The traditional idea of evangelism, okay, looks like what? Some guy standing on a street corner with his Bible in his hand on a soapbox, you know, and it's a lot more than that. I'm not saying that people haven't been challenged while he's doing that, and but is there a way to evangelize people so that they start believing or increase their believing? Because evangelism isn't just for the unsaved. When you evangelize someone or challenge them, like we were talking about, you're causing them to grow in their faith. Or okay, good example would be how we prayed for that gal's house. For those of you that don't know, we have this thing that's like a prayer flash mob where we get together and we pray and over someone's house for half an hour, and just to bring up the blessing. Let's just bring the blessing of God there. We also each bring $5 a piece. So we give to them financially, we give to them spiritually.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
that
So we had 13 people show up at this gal's house. Was she unsaved? No, she was saved, But when we get into this comfortable place, we don't know what's going on because things are going wrong in our life, And because of that, you want to help people push through that so that they can continue on into a blessing. Well, that's what we did. And that to me is like evangelism.
well, I think evangelism is also derived in as far as your attitude to, towards people, your relationships with people, how you conduct yourself, how you love on people. I get an opportunity to do that, when I'm at work.
Absolutely.
And
That's
that's
perfect.
evangelism
That's a
to me.
perfect example. Well, it's I would say it's inclusive. It's this and that,
Right.
Because it's a broad stroke. Because again, we have a vision of what evangelism has been in the past,
Right.
what it is today and what it can be in the future. I mean, this is where God dwells right here.
Well, I think the problem with evangelism, though, is that it's gotten a bad rap. Yeah.
Like church.
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, because you see these evangelists on television,
Yeah.
and you automatically think, well, they're out for their money. Well, guess what, folks? They are, but they're not challenging people. They're just in it for their own personal gain. But evangelism is not just asking for money or whatever, or quoting scripture to somebody. It's developing a relationship with someone so that if they get into trouble, or there's a problem that they want to discuss, you've given them an opportunity by your attitude to be talked to and to counsel them and bringing them into the kingdom.
You've
And you
opened
see,
the door of love.
yeah, and I think that's something that people look at evangelism as the person on the street corner and whatever,
Right.
but it's not like that. It's very simple. You don't have to be a preacher per se. We're all preachers in a way, not in the formal sense, but when we give our attitudes, and we show consistency in that attitude, and we love on people, that's evangelism. And I think churches don't do that as much as far as evangelism is concerned. I mean, they want to propel people to go out into the community and to demonstrate love towards others, no matter where they're at in their lives. And so that's the prompting of the church that I go to now. That's we're going through the book of Ephesians, and so that was part of the message the last week, about loving on people and uniting people because God is love. Hello. And so if you recognize that, then you're representing God's attitude, because and representing it by the fruit of the Spirit. Sometimes, oh, hello.
Well, I don't know. We're gonna have to fix this camera. It just shut off again.
Okay.
And we've advertised Sony a couple times now.
Okay. Well, but I hope you hear my voice in any case.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Any case, it's just something that people make it more complicated than it needs to be, because it churches, some people get the connotation that you go to the building, you, like you were saying, you worship for an hour or whatever, and you hear a message. The problem is that they don't go out into the world demonstrating what they've been taught.
Yeah, they feel like it's the pastor's job. We
Right.
pay you, we give the church some money, so you can keep the lights on, but we pay you to go do that because that's what you do on Sundays, right?
Right.
We bring our friends so you could evangelize them.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that's
and it's not supposed to be that way. It was always been designed. I mean, Jesus did that. Sent out, he sent them out to do the work of the kingdom. Go.
And that's interesting because the word church comes from ecclesia.
Right.
I believe it's derived from that Greek word.
Mhm.
But Jesus never said to form a building, so to speak, or build a temple, to worship in.
Yeah.
Never.
The greatest moves of God have been squashed, and historians believe this. Church historians been squashed by people trying to fit it into a box,
Mhm.
organize it, clean it up. Let's do a little bit of this and not a little bit of that, And when, like, perfect example was the Jesus People movement with Lonnie Frisbee. I mean, here's a bunch of hippies showing up, barefoot and wild haired and just coming on some kind of a high, and they all just kind of clambered into Chuck Smith's house, and so, uh, Lonnie was like, just happy as a clam, that was his people. And Chuck's like, what are you doing? He says,
Mhm.
you need to understand how to love these people because these are the people that God loves. And that's how the whole thing started. But then they got, the church people got involved, and they had a board and,
Mhm.
and then it was like, well, they don't wear any shoes. So if they don't wear any shoes and the carpet gets dirty, and if the carpet gets dirty, I don't know if we should let these people in again. Chuck Smith says, well, if the carpet's a problem, okay. So he went out after that meeting, he ripped all the carpet out.
Okay, there you go.
Said, problem solved. If you're worried about the carpet, then I'll remove the carpet. But we're not going to remove the people because of the carpet.
And I think that it's getting to the basics of worship and faith, because you don't need a building, you don't need carpet,
Right.
you need a person's heart
Yeah.
to be after God. Now, on the extreme, you have churches like Joel Osteen's church,
Mhm.
and I don't mean to denigrate him, but the point is that 40,000 people go
you're
to
gonna.
the Astrodome, what used to be the Astrodome, and listen to somebody who doesn't preach the gospel. 40,000 people every Sunday.
Yeah.
So you got to think, okay.
Yeah. Well, he's not the only one.
No,
okay?
of course
So
not.
there've
I'm
been
just that's
others.
a prime example, though.
Yeah. And if people are living better lives for that, that's great, but I think the desire of God is that all 40,000 just go out and talk to one, at
Mhm.
least one that week. So how do you know you're in a place or in a church that that's healthy for you? Well, it's being able to get past the parking lot, still remember the message.
Yeah, right.
Because as soon as you hit the driveway, it's like, hey, so how was the message? Oh, it was great. What do you talk about?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to remember it so that it affects your soul. It affects you in such a way that it challenges you, or there's an impression upon you which causes you to change, which causes you to change other people. And I don't mean try to just change people. I'm talking about inform other people about the change that you're experiencing.
yes.
Because that's the passion. I think people have missed the passion, of the love of God.
Well, his United Bride, for me, does that because I remember what is said.
Yeah, me too.
And it's on, by the way, it is on the Out of the Mire YouTube channel in case you want to watch previous messages, and I'm sure you'll get the benefit of that. And I get the benefit of it because as I'm driving home, I mean, last night, for example, we were talking about breakthrough. And I believe that, as I was driving home, I broke through as far as
Great.
dealing with myself as a person, and what I represent, to individuals,
Mm.
that I come in contact with, and I've always, been concerned about, that. But that's okay. I'm made in God's image the way God wanted me to be made. And
Yeah.
he's developing me in such a way that, I'm compassionate towards people. I love people. I mean, I have my opinions and I have my faults just like anybody else does. But the thing is that I have to recognize the fact that I am a separate individual from others,
Right.
other people. And that's the message that, I got. And as a matter of fact, it was confirmed this morning because there's a gentleman by the name of Doug Addison who has this prophet, and that's exactly what he said. He said, breakthrough is coming, so to speak. And I said, okay, that does solidify what I was learning, last night. That's the thing about a church, and what Mike was saying about the fact that the church is, something. If you remember the message and you grow from it and you learn from it, fantastic. But if you don't, then why did you go in the first place? I mean, it's not a social gathering; it's a worship. You're worshiping the Lord. That's what you're, supposed to be doing. I think that things like in Kentucky or what they had in Toronto at the airport, many years ago, and Greg Laurie, who's a pastor in Southern California, has been preaching about a revival for
every year.
Yeah. And his church, has grown by leaps and bounds because of that. But I don't think he's as concerned about the structure of the church as he is for trying to revive people and have a revival, because that's what got him to come to the Lord. It wasn't a church. It was people that were ministering to him individually. And so that's the thing. People get, stuck on that. In the church that I go to, there was a dear pastor, and we've had him here on a Clarion Voice before, Rick Comstock. Now, he preached at the church for at least almost 28, 30 years. Well, the problem is that people put more emphasis on him, sort of like idol worship, as it were, as opposed to their own relationship with the Lord. And I said, well, what's going to happen when he leaves? Well, fortunately, we have a young man who's pastoring the church, Garrett Cruz, who we've also interviewed here on this program, who has developed a different dynamic, different demographic, and it works. And the church is growing as a result of that.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be based on the pastor or
his
anything.
Personality.
No, it should be based on your relationship with the Lord, because you were talking about walking to the parking lot, and remembering the message. Well, I got news for you. If you don't take the message that you get and develop your relationship with the Lord Monday through Saturday, Sunday doesn't mean a thing, because, and there are some people, and I'm not trying to make a blanket generalization, but there are some people that come to church and they act as though they never went. They just, whatever their personality is, it's a negative. It's, something that is not a reflection of what a believer is supposed to be like.
So if we finalize this discussion, we would say church is more about an attitude and not about building.
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, there's no way that the building represents what an individual's relationship
or what
with
your attitude should be, or what your attitude should be.
Right. Exactly.
Picking and choosing. Well, I don't want this guy to, I mean, they did that. You read it in the Bible. Oh, I'm of Paul. I'm of Apollos.
Yes. Right.
I don't. I'm gonna go with that guy. I want to go with this guy. How arrogant is that, right?
So
anyway,
when you're talking about the church and how you define church, then just to be aware that hello, just be aware that
and he's back.
Just be aware that it's your attitude, not the building. You develop your own individual relationship with the Lord, despite where you go to worship. That's the important thing. And then you have to reflect God's nature as a result. It's not because you go to church. People make all sorts of excuses for not going to church. When I was a believer, I made excuses about wanting to watch the football games on Sunday. I didn't want to go to church.
It worked.
So I went to church, and once I went to church, then that was it.
It's priorities.
Yeah. So, anyways, I hope that you are going to get the benefit of our discussion, and I want you to redefine church and what it means to you. Think about that.
Oh, there's your challenge.
There you go. So, anyways, I challenge you to think about that and to develop your own relationship with the Lord. Don't worry about what the church does or whatever. You and God have to have a relationship that grows and grows and grows. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark.
And we hope that you'll respond to us. You'll like and share this video. And despite me being on half the time, in any case, it doesn't matter. This is live TV. What can I tell you? In any case, we hope that you'll do that, and we will look for your comments. If you'll send emails, if you didn't get a chance to watch live, then please send one to a Clarion Voice
Comment on this video.
2020.com, and we will be glad to respond to you. So for Mike Donaldson, this is Mark Sopowitz with a Clarion Voice.
Comment to this video. They can just do it while they're watching.